and welcome to Shell Point Today for Tuesday, September 29th. I'm Adam Brown. On today's show, Les Davidson talks about the canyons and mountains of America that he has photographed. Healthcare billing manager Joni Reagan talks to us about Medicare and insurance options. And Terry Colath visits with Sherry Brown, Director of Long-Term Care, to talk about the Pavilion Auxiliary Bakeless Bake Sale. But first, don't forget that the Photo Club meets this Thursday at 2:15 in the Social Center. Join us if you have an interest in improving your photography skills or meeting others who love to learn and share new techniques. For this month's Critics Wall, bring an 8x10 photo on the topic of architecture. For more information, you can call Dottie Morrison at 337-4015. Also, we want to let you know about a new volunteer opportunity as a resident mentor. Do you remember when you first moved to Shell Point? You may have wondered, where do I sign up for monthly programs? How do I register and use the shopping bus? Where is the Island Health Club located? How can I become more involved in my new community? As a resident mentor, you will help new residents of Shell Point with a few pointers as they embark on their new adventure. For more information about this new volunteer group, contact Melody Desolé at 454-2290. The Bakeless Bake Sale is going on now to raise funds for improving the Larson Pavilion. To find out more about this, we go to Terry Colath, who is standing by with Sherry Brown, Director of Long-Term Care and Hospice.
Hello, I'm here with Sherry Brown, the Director of Long-Term Care and Hospice Services here at Shell Point Retirement Community. We're talking about something special. Thanks for joining me, Sherry.
It's a pleasure always, Terry. Thanks for asking.
Well, I know you join me in enjoying talking about the Pavilion Auxiliary. And once a year, we have our annual fundraiser, and that's what we're here to talk about today.
Wonderful. A very special topic.
Well, you, it occurs to me, have a very unique position. A person who not only supports all of our residents in long-term care and those receiving hospice, but you support over 200 staff in your building and over 200 resident volunteers.
It's an awesome opportunity.
That's a good word to call it, and you do it so well. We're always delighted.
Thank you.
The one thing that we're here to talk about today is, why do you talk to this community? Why do you want the opportunity to talk to the community about what fundraising for the auxiliary can do for you and your residents and your staff and your building?
Well, it's a unique position to be in, and actually our auxiliary works so hard to support the pavilion, the residents that live there, and also uplift the staff, that they are a phenomenal group of people, and their Bakeless Bake Sale fundraiser allows us the opportunity to bring even more special pieces of equipment, furniture, educational opportunities to the staff and the residents in the pavilion on an ongoing basis.
And I wanted to talk a minute about what people may, you can see some of the things that the Bakeless Bake Sale helps to support. When you walk into the building, you can see, for instance, brand new chairs somewhere.
Absolutely. And this year, in fact, just in the last week, we have reaped the benefits of funding through the auxiliary with new chairs in our Schilling dining room on the first floor. Nice. And they're just beautiful.
And comfortable.
Yes.
And so appreciated. Well, we also have these 250 resident volunteers divided into 16 committees. Another valuable part of this fundraiser is to support the work each of those committees does.
Absolutely.
Well, I think the ones that really come to mind, because we see them, are all your carts, the carts going all around. Tell us the value of having a beverage cart or a library cart come into a room.
You know, for our residents who are there in the pavilion, whether it's in a long-term stay or a short-term rehab stay, the volunteer visits are just priceless. Mm-hmm. And the volunteers help to support the residents in the example of the beverage cart. They're there in and out of the rooms offering a special beverage to each and every resident in the building. Mm-hmm. And it allows the resident-to-resident interaction friends and neighbors helping those in the pavilion. And it lifts that responsibility from the staff, who are then able to continue providing care and support, and the volunteers provide beverages. So it's a wonderful blend of resources.
So we raise funds. Our auxiliary board directs all of this and the fundraising, funds to support the committees, funds to support the extras in the building, and something else very special that I know is close to their heart, a little thank you for the staff once a year during Nursing Home Week.
Yes.
How special is that?
Do you know, I believe the staff look forward to that on an ongoing basis. And that interaction, that communication on an ongoing basis is always there, but that ability to celebrate together and for the auxiliary to say to the staff at that time of year, wow, thanks for all you do here. It's a great interaction.
And so we also have a really nice opportunity to say to the staff, we also support scholarship. We support a friendly get-together once a year where we have a little lunch and talk to each other. And we support you by being in there on our 16 committees saying, what can we do to help?
You know, Terry, it is such a unique situation here. Nowhere else am I aware that there is that concern and care from residents of a community who would be willing to provide such unbelievable numbers of hours of service and to be right in there with us, helping to make sure life is good every day.
And to do it purely for the joy of service.
From their heart.
That's so wonderful.
Absolutely.
Well, I know we appreciate it, and we're so glad to have you here to talk to our residents about a little behind-the-scenes Bakeless bake sale information.
It's a privilege, and thank you, Terry, and thank you to the Shell Point community. I implore you to look at your opportunity and ability to help our auxiliary with their annual fundraiser this year, the Bakeless Bake Sale, because what you provide will certainly transcend what can happen for our residents in the pavilion. So thank you very much.
That's what it's all about. Thank you.
Les Davidson of Eagles Preserve is quite the photographer and world traveler. His upcoming Academy class is all about canyons and mountains of America. You'll want to see these beautiful photographs and hear about the amazing formations captured from land and air. But before taking in these scenic views in Friday's class, view this discussion with Les and Terry Kolath as they give us a preview now.
Hello, everyone. I'm here today with Lester Davidson of Eagles Preserve. You may have attended one of his Coffee with a Neighbor programs in the past. If you did, you know that he has been an amazing photographer for a number of years. And the good part about that is he's a world traveler. So we get the advantage of taking trips with Lester Davidson through his photographs. Thanks for joining me, Les.
It's my pleasure.
This time you decided to pull out the canyons and the mountains of America. Why is that?
Well, I have somewhat of a collection. My first trip out to that part of this country was in 1939. My father decided we're going to be in a war pretty quick, and we're going to see the country. So we went to whatever was a national park in that time, and some of them weren't even national parks yet. We saw Yosemite, and we saw Bryce and Zion, the Grand Canyon, and I never forgot about it. I fell in love, and every time I have a chance, I'm back out there again.
Wonderful. No, the photos we're going to see in this presentation, when did you take them?
They're probably over the past 6 or 8 years.
And you've gone all through canyons and mountains. Tell us some of the highlights, some of the places where you've been, and then we're going to see the photos.
Well, everybody finds the Grand Canyon the biggest highlight of their life as far as visual is concerned. But in several of my trips, I became very enamored with Zion National Park, and I found a lot of people prefer it because, you know, it's a very quiet, spiritual place. The Grand Canyon is just this enormous, fantastic thing, and everybody thinks that's it. And many people don't go any further than the Grand Canyon. But my biggest thrill in this particular trip that this show was about was Mount McKinley, now called Denali.
Yeah.
That was very exciting, the way it happened. I won't go into it here. I went to it, tell you all about it.
Oh,
And
it's so exciting.
It was very interesting the way it happened and what happened. And that really sticks in my mind. I do love, when I'm out west, I do love flying over these areas. It's such a different way to see them, and it's so much more exciting and more comprehensive.
Sure, to see them from above, a canyon, a mountain, or around it, circling around it as you did with Mount Denali.
On my last trip to the Grand Canyon, the government had closed down. This is almost over 2 years ago. We were there, and we had no place to go. But Arizona donated some money to the National Park System to open up the Grand Canyon for 1 week. And so we flew over the Grand Canyon. So a lot of my photographs from the Grand Canyon are from there.
This is wonderful.
But we've done the other ones, and you never get tired of seeing these places. It just gets under your skin after a while.
It just lets you know what an amazing country we have. How huge, how varied.
Tremendous.
Wonderful structures, natural structures.
I've been in a lot of different countries, but there's nothing compares with particularly the West. Not taking anything away from other parts of the country, but the West is where all that dynamic stuff is, really.
Well, we are so grateful, as always, that you share with us, that you take the photos and that you share. And especially in this one, where there's going to be a little bit of the story that goes along with it. It's going to be worth people's while to join us.
Yeah, McKinley is a story.
And it's very, very, very nice that we can see it the way you saw it, the way very few people have. Join Lester for this look at Mount McKinley, now Mount Denali, in a whole new way, and all the canyons and mountains that he's going to share with us. Don't forget your ticket. This is Coffee with the Neighbor.
If you are on Medicare, now is the time for making changes to your plan. The Medicare Advantage plan has changes each year, and healthcare billing manager Joni Reagan wants you to be aware of them. She and her team are ready to answer all of your questions and discuss the insurance options available to you. She talks with Heather Batty now about the open enrollment event coming up next week.
Hi, I'm Heather Batty with Resort Services, and today I'm here with Joni Reagan from Medicare Billing. We have an interesting Health Connection program coming up, and it's Medicare Open Enrollment. It's October 7th, and it's going to be with Joni and her team from Medicare Billing.
Yes.
So, Joni, what is exactly this open enrollment?
Well, it's the time of year that people who are on Medicare can change their plans. Normally, it's for people who are on Medicare Advantage plans. If they want to drop them or if they want to switch to a different one.
Okay, so if you're on Medicare, you don't necessarily roll over your program every year. You have to kind of re-sign, or?
Well, if you're on straight Medicare, it does roll over. You don't have to do anything. But if you're on Medicare Advantage plans, they change every year. Their premiums change, their services change. So you have to always be aware of that, and their copays and their out-of-pockets. And you have to be, you just have to kind of compare what you think your health is and what you want to pay in the long run to how much regular Medicare would pay.
Okay, so residents can come to this and kind of talk to you and ask questions?
Yeah. We have a little program, and we kind of go over what Medicare B, A, and D, and C, and everything. We kind of explain everything. And then we have a lot of time, we stay as long as there's a resident who has a question, and we answer all the questions. And then if they don't want to answer a question there, they're welcome to call us. Our phone number is 454-2201 or 454-2203. Those numbers, or you can come into our office. It's on the second floor of the Medical Center, and we'll be happy to help you with any questions you have, or explain something that you don't understand, explain your plan, give you some advice. We can't tell you what to do. we can tell you what works best with ShellPoint, and that's kind of why we have the program. It's because not everything works with ShellPoint in the Part A contract.
Oh, I see. Okay, so you can help guide the residents into saying that these are some of the things that ShellPoint will accept.
Right, and we don't want people to get into a health situation where they're going to have to pay a bunch of money out of pocket and they don't know it, but they want to come here. So we try to help them not have to worry about their health care.
Right. No, that's excellent. That's great to know, because all those questions can be confusing when
Yes,
it
they
comes
are.
to health insurance and prescription coverage.
Yeah, also I wanted to mention too that a lot of folks, or what I hear now is that the formularies, which are the drugs that the insurance companies are going to be paying for, is changing on the Medicare Part D prescription plans. So they're changing a lot, which means it's going to cost more for the consumer. And I encourage everybody to take a look at the plans that are offered compared to what drugs you take. You can actually go on the web. There's a website for Medicare that does that. You have to put some information in, or the Legacy is also doing that free of charge. You just have to give them a list of the prescriptions you're taking, and you can get the form from the Legacy. I would
Great.
encourage everybody to take advantage of all this because we're here to help you.
Absolutely. So if you have any questions about your Medicare, it sounds like definitely a really great program to go to, and especially because some of the things are changing in prescriptions.
Yeah.
Make sure you reach out to the billing office, to Joni and her team. Again, your number again is?
454-2201 and 454-2203. And it's something you don't want to miss.
So thank you very much for joining us. This program again is October 7th, Medicare Open Enrollment. It's at 1:15 in the Social Center. Stay happy and healthy, and thank you.
Thank you.
And now it's time to look at all of today's happenings, Academy news, menus, and Village Church connections.
Hello and welcome to the Happening segment of ShellPoint TV. I'm Caitlin Vanscoy and I'm here with Bev Chanley, and we're going to let you know all of Tuesday's activities. We start at 7:15 with a Health Connections class, Bend, Breathe, and Balance. That'll be in the Health Club. Then we move to 8 o'clock for pickleball. That'll be at the pickleball courts behind the Resident Activity Center on the island. Another 8 o'clock activity is the Round Robin Doubles Tennis. That'll be at the Woodlands Tennis Courts. And the Stamp Ministry will be down in the Stamp Room down in the Island Tunnel at 8:15. And the Ladies Golf Association will meet at the ShellPoint Golf Club at 8:30. 9:15 is the time for open painting. That's down in the Art Studio. Also at 9:15, shuffleboard will be available at the shuffleboard courts. The Match Play Mixed Doubles Tennis will be at the Woodlands Tennis Courts at 9:30. And from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., the Seafood Truck will be here at the Village Church. 10:15 is the time for Through the Bible Study Group in the Osprey Room on the island. Our last morning activity is the Life Quest Living Healthy. That'll be in the Osprey Room at 11:45. Here's Bev to tell you all about our afternoon.
Thank you, Caitlin. At 12:30 today, we have Mixed Progressive Bridge. That's in the game room of the Woodlands. We have a Health Connections class at 12:45. Fitness Room Orientation. That's down in the Island Health Club, and sign up is required. The Knitters group will be in the Osprey Room at 1:15. And we have a 1:15 Life Quest quarterly event, Active Aging Week. That's in the Social Center. The Rollicking Recorderist will be playing at 1:15 in the Tarpon Room. And again at 1:15, we have the Women's Ministries Prayer Group in the Hospitality Room of the Village Church. We have another Health Connections class at 1:30, Aqua Pilates Stretch. That's at the Life Quest Aquatic Center. And the Stamp Ministry will be in the Sable Room of the Woodlands at 1:30. Well, that concludes our activities for today, and we will see you back here again tomorrow.
Hi, I'm Terry Kolath with your Academy information for Tuesday. At 1 o'clock, we have printing from your Apple iPad tablet beginning in the Oak Room of the Woodlands, and sign up is required. Tomorrow, I have a reminder for those who have signed up for court pickup beginning at 8:30 on the island for Academy on the Go, Tathiki Museum at the Seminole Reservation. And I'd like to talk a minute about the auxiliary. The weather will be changing soon, and don't you just love being outdoors as the days grow slightly more cool and less humid? Many of your neighbors and friends in the Larson Pavilion enjoy going outside too. And if you'd like to push someone outdoors in their wheelchair to enjoy some time, we have an opportunity for you. Please call Karen Lieberless of Eagles Preserve, and she will help you make it happen through the Pavilion Auxiliary Activities Committee.
Menus for Tuesday. In the Crystal Room, the Crystal Platter is turkey a la king with fried green beans and cornbread. The soup of the day is country cabbage. In the Island Cafe for lunch, the special is a basil ginger chicken wrap with fresh fruit for $7.75. The dinner special is teriyaki steak with roasted potatoes and grilled vegetables for $8.75. All menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
Welcome to Village Church Connections. I'm David Pavey. Some time ago, Josh Ferrin was unwell. Josh was suffering from pneumonia. He'd taken time off from his job as an artist at the Desert News in Salt Lake City. The family of 4 was in transition as they had just closed on their first house. Taking advantage of being off work, therefore, Josh decided to pick up the keys and explore their future home on his own. Eventually, he reached the garage, where he noticed something odd. A scrap of carpet hanging from the ceiling, which drew his attention to a small, movable panel above his head. Joshua found a ladder, moved it up to the ceiling panel, climbed up into the attic. And to his surprise, there he discovered 8 World War II-era ammunition boxes. He carefully pried one open, dreading to see a grenade. Instead, what he saw blew his mind. Wads of bills held together by string and wire. He started counting, and he kept on counting. And he found he had hidden treasure in the amount of $45,000. Finders keepers, he thought. He could use this cash to remodel the new house, repair their car, etc., etc. But he only thought it for a moment. Josh called his wife Tara right away. And her first response brought him down to earth in a hurry. She told him to call the family who previously owned the house and give them the money. Let me ask you, what would you have done in a situation like that? Well, Josh didn't hesitate. I immediately knew that she was right, Josh said. As much as I wanted to keep it, I couldn't keep it. That just wouldn't be right. The long-term owner of the house was a certain Arnold Bangerter, formerly a biologist with the Utah Fish and Wildlife Department and a father of 6. It turned out Bangerter had squirreled away money for a long time, some of those bills dating back 40 years. After he died, his children inherited the house and had just sold it to the Joe Ferrin family. Some people told Josh he should just keep the money, that he had a legal right to it, because he found it in his own home. But Josh argued that while it might be legal, it certainly wouldn't be moral to keep the treasure. How could he claim money intended for someone else? How could our family start, he asked. How could our family start life in a new home by doing something that was wrong? What sealed Josh's decision to return the money, however, wasn't just ethics. It was fatherhood, too. Joe Ferrin thought about the devotion Bangerter had had for his children, and he sensed a kindred spirit. I imagined, he said, this guy for years and years collecting money and putting it away. I appreciate the need to think for the future and to take care of loved ones. I can understand him as a father. Josh said he too is trying to leave something for his children as they grow up. I've got 2 boys, he said, and we teach them to be honest and to do what is right. And I knew this was a teachable moment that I would never get back again. We would do something courageously honest with it, something awesome.
It is a great opportunity for me to take my children and say to them, we are going to do something awesome.
Josh contacted Bangerter's offspring, and with his family beside him to witness the big event, he returned the money. Now, there are a couple of lessons to glean from this story. One of them is that husbands do well to listen to their wives. But I'd better not dwell on that one. On a more serious note, the story led me to 2 verses from the Proverbs of Solomon in the Old Testament of the Bible. One reads like this: "Good people leave an inheritance to their grandchildren." Proverbs 13:22. Arnold Bangerter had stashed away money to benefit his children and probably his grandchildren too. His example was a reminder to Josh Ferrin that he needed to do the same. Strangely enough, empirical observation suggests that if we give God at least 10% first, we become better stewards of the 90% that we have left, which increases the likelihood that we will have some to pass on to the next generation. And while some of us may have very little in the way of dollars to leave to our progeny, at the very least we can leave the legacy of a good example and respect for the Almighty. Good people leave an inheritance. The other verse states, "The godly walk with integrity. Blessed are their children who follow them." Proverbs 20, verse 7. Joe Ferrin turned this event into a teachable moment, demonstrating to his young sons the importance of honesty. The godly walk with integrity and can hold their heads high as they benefit from a clear conscience. Honesty is indeed the best policy. God honors those who honor him by doing what is right. The Bible says, "Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it." This may not be an ironclad rule, but it is certainly a general principle. Yes, the godly walk with integrity. Thomas Jefferson was right on target when he wrote, "Honesty is the first chapter of the Book of Wisdom." And thank you for tuning in to Village Church Connections.
Thanks for joining us on today's program. Tomorrow we will listen as Herb Sklar talks about color, color, color in his upcoming art class. We'll revisit fitness coordinator Hannah Hosterman for an advanced class of balance and mobility. And Anna Smith from Finemark Bank will talk about changing your mailing address. This has been Shell Point Today for Tuesday, September 29th. I'm Adam Brown, and from all of us here at SPTV, we hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, and we'll see you again tomorrow.